Christina Partsenevelos.
There could be a but, and I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
So NVIDIA's China business just got a major green light, and the numbers are enormous. Reuters reports Chinese tech companies have ordered more than 2 million of NVIDIA's H200 chips for next year at roughly $27,000 per chip. That's according to them. So that would equate to roughly $54 billion in potential demand. NVIDIA currently has about 700,000 chips available, meaning the company will need TSMC, Taiwan Semi, to ramp up production starting very, very soon. ByteDance alone, which is the parent of TikTok, is reportedly planning to spend $14 billion on NVIDIA chips in 2026. So that could equate to roughly 10% of NVIDIA's annual revenue, and this estimated from just one single customer. ByteDance has already built a 1,000-person chip team and developed a chip comparable to NVIDIA's 820 chip, which is a lower-tier chip geared to China at a lower cost. But the scale of these orders today shows China still doesn't have domestically produced chips capable of handling large-scale AI training at NVIDIA's level, which is good news for NVIDIA. There's also a U.S. revenue angle. NVIDIA pays, or is supposed to pay, a 25% fee to the U.S. government on China sales. That means roughly $3.5 billion from ByteDance alone, if we take those numbers at face value, potentially more than $13 billion if all 2 million chips ship. For investors, this matters because China revenue has been stripped out of street models. These approvals could drive upward revisions, but the stock isn't celebrating today. Investors have lived through repeated starts and stops and big buts on China chip sales. Until orders turn into shipments and revenue, the market is just taking a wait-and-see approach. There's the but for you.
If the U.S. company is permitted to sell its H200 graphic processing units in China, ByteDance intends to spend roughly 100 billion yuan, $14.29 billion, on artificial intelligence chips from NVIDIA in 2026, a significant increase from roughly 85 billion yuan in 2025, according to a report published on Wednesday in the South China Morning Post. This year, NVIDIA's stock increased by around 40%, and the business launched numerous new initiatives that will keep it at the forefront of the artificial intelligence revolution. Considering that I finished creating a video on the company in 2025, I have examined the company's long-term goals in my What's Next for NVIDIA stock in 2026. I was mistaken, though, and NVIDIA investors get additional positive news with Intel's 8K filing dated December 29th. The filing states that NVIDIA paid $5.0 billion, or $23.28 per share, to complete its investment in Intel. That investment is currently a huge profit, given that Intel ended the Monday trading session at $36.68. Here are some reasons why I believe NVIDIA's partnership and investment in Intel was a crucial step for the business, as well as what investors might anticipate from it. NVIDIA invested in Intel. Why? The long-term goal of NVIDIA was to control the whole compute industry. The corporation had to start over and devise a new strategy after regulatory obstacles prevented it from acquiring ARM. In an effort to overcome this obstacle, the business collaborated with MediaTek to design its ARM cores, which were later incorporated into its superchips. For superchips, this worked out nicely, but not so well for anything that would be used in consumer electronics. According to Tom's Guide, the long-rumored laptop chip has been postponed until late 2026. Qualcomm released its Snapdragon X CPUs for PCs while NVIDIA was battling delays. Despite the AI PC's branding and Copilot promotion, they haven't been able to gain any substantial market share because of the poor experience that Windows on ARM offers. This made it quite evident to NVIDIA that using ARM to compete in the laptop market is a losing strategy. To win, NVIDIA need x86. It was unable to obtain an x86 license from AMD or Intel. You read correctly. NVIDIA would have to obtain licenses from both businesses. When AMD created the 64-bit x86 architecture many years ago, it truly won the contest for best architecture. Under their cross-licensing architecture agreements, AMD gives Intel the AMD 64 license, and Intel gives AMD the original x86 architecture license. With little other choice, NVIDIA started collaborating with Intel covertly as early as 2024, long before the investment agreement was made public, according to Tom's Hardware. NVIDIA made the decision to invest in Intel for a number of reasons. It had been collaborating with Intel for approximately a year, and its long-term goals required it to keep Intel solvent. Intel is developing 14A, a manufacturing process that shows great promise and could become a superior method. Being the first to access the greatest node is a big advantage, and this investment will allow NVIDIA to become Intel's preferred customer in its factories. Like the ARM deal, a full purchase would have been prevented. As an added plus, NVIDIA is gaining favor with President Donald Trump by following his example, as the U.S. government has already spent $8.9 billion in Intel. What can we anticipate from the partnership between NVIDIA and Intel? The collaboration's main goal is to make Intel CPUs compatible with NVLink. This will lead to the adoption of Intel's specially designed CPUs for NVIDIA in data centers, superchips, but with Intel rather than MediaTek. According to Lip-Bu Tan, CEO of Intel, NVIDIA's AI and accelerated computing leadership will be complemented by Intel's leading data center and client computing platforms, along with our process technology, manufacturing, and advanced packaging capabilities to enable new breakthroughs for the industry. Additionally, the firms are developing system-on-chips that use NVIDIA RTX GPU chiplets. Every year, 150 million computers are sold. According to Wired, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang stated, "We're now developing a system on a chip that fuses two processors into one giant SoC, and that will become a new class of integrated laptops that the world has never seen before." It is anticipated that the anticipated chips and integrations will take 3 to 4 years to complete. The best-case scenario would be for the first chips to market in late 2027, because the businesses started working in 2024. According to NotebookCheck.net, rumors suggest that Serpent Lake, the first chip in the upcoming partnership, will have an integrated RTX Rubin GPU. Over time, this partnership will give NVIDIA greater flexibility. We can anticipate that the following generation of Feynman chips will be based on Intel, although redesigning the Feynman chips to use Intel cores rather than MediaTek cores was probably too late when the partnership started. This would therefore make it possible to introduce smaller superchips with Intel CPU cores, such the GB10. As a result, we will be able to purchase compact devices that can run cutting-edge AI models in addition to any normal software, including games, without any problems. As a customer, I see one negative aspect of this agreement. Intel might gradually stop working on GPU development. That would leave consumers with a duopoly of AMD and NVIDIA, which is never beneficial because it keeps costs high and slows down progress. What are NVIDIA's analyst ratings? In his research note from December 29th, which I received, Bank of America analyst Vivek Arya reaffirmed a buy rating and the target price of $275 for NVIDIA stock. The target price, which is within NVIDIA's historical forward-year PE ratio range of 25 to 56, is based on 28 times his earnings projection price-to-earnings ratio for calendar year 2027, excluding cash. Stephen Guilfoyle, a seasoned analyst, has increased his price estimate for NVIDIA stock to $235. With a $300 target price, NVIDIA is ranked as a top choice by Cantor Fitzgerald. Bank of America raised its price estimate for Intel from $34 on December 16th to $40, noting the possibility of victories in wafer design or advanced packaging at Intel Foundry. Don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your input helps create a more knowledgeable community where we can all learn and grow together in the world of investing. Stay up to date with the latest market trends, insights, and key updates by subscribing to Investing Tutorial. We're here to help you make smarter investment decisions and stay ahead of the curve.
Headline. I mean, NVIDIA buys Grok, and that it's not a traditional acquisition. And I'm curious your thoughts on what makes this different, why perhaps that didn't resonate so well with the street, at least based on yesterday, some of the pressure we saw in NVIDIA.
Hey, Jenny, good to be on, and yeah, it's good to see you. Yeah, the headline is, NVIDIA buys the competitor, right? But the reality, this is the new playbook for big tech, which is it's an acqui-hire type of transaction where you license the technology, you get the IP, you do a non-exclusive agreement with them, so you can't say that's an exclusive purchase, and then you get the talent to work for NVIDIA. So we've seen Meta do it with Google did it with Character.ai. We've seen Meta do it with Alexander Wang. So there's a lot of people doing this, and NVIDIA actually, lost the ARM deal last year in the UK because of anti-competitive pressures. So they don't want to do that mistake again.
And the reason that I'm guessing, Hatem, is that they would probably have had some pushback as they have in the past. ARM comes to mind with the potential acquisition here. So they can say, hey, no, we didn't buy the company. We did this other thing. And look, it's a totally different thing. Is that the idea?
100%. I mean, it's an easy alibi to have. Was like, hey, listen, yeah, they're a competitor, but we actually did not buy them. We just licensed the technology. And the anti-competitive pressures, as you mentioned, are not just here in the States. They're also in China. They're in Europe. So doing a deal like this really allows them to kind of circumvent that.
Okay, so we do know that we are seeing Jonathan Ross, who's of course Grok's founder, now come into the ring, and he has pretty major credentials as far as chip design. But how significant is that for NVIDIA to now compete with, say, the likes of like Alphabet, I know, for some of these various GPU offerings?
Very significant, right? He was actually one of the lead engineers at Google developing the TPU. So he's got extremely amazing credentials around neural networks and ASICs, custom ASICs, especially in inference per se. So I think it's a big win for NVIDIA to have him under the umbrella. And I think also, there was a narrative out there in the street that NVIDIA was behind in inference, and having Grok's team within NVIDIA and bringing the technology that Grok developed in inference, which is faster and cheaper, allows for NVIDIA to kind of change that narrative.
Okay, so this will kind of tie into, I know you have a statement in your notes that calls inference that next big battleground, but in a way, does this validate the projects that we've been hearing about coming out of Alphabet, that NVIDIA was willing to make such a big move to kind of shore up a gap?
I mean, yes, I think Alphabet has really done a great job this year, really defying all the skeptics and coming up with Gemini, which is really crushing it and really building it within their own products. I think what happened with NVIDIA is, they were seen as, yeah, they're definitely the biggest players in training, right? They have the best GPUs, they have everything, but with inference, they're just not there. And I think this purchase really changes that narrative for them. And I think going forward, NVIDIA, which currently does almost 90% of its revenue from selling GPUs, will also have more software to offer to help with running these AI processes. Because as you said, like the next frontier is the cost per token, are agents working, what's the ROI, or as your previous guest said, ROAI.
Okay, so as far as now looking ahead to 2026, I mean, where does NVIDIA stand as perhaps one of your favorite stocks or top picks, or how do you see it playing out in a more difficult to compete in environment, but also just after several years of such growth? I feel like it's going to be very difficult to maintain this consistency as far as the hyper growth expectations.
Well, I think we know for the next 2 years, right, they have almost $300 billion in sales already booked. And I think all the announcements over the last year or so for all the data centers are going towards the GPU build out or the data center build out, which will require NVIDIA GPUs, right? So I'm not really worried about NVIDIA's prospect for the next 2 or 3 years. And obviously, if they keep making acquisitions like this, or at least with this acquisition, they almost reinforcing their offering, right? But I think more importantly, and this kind of goes back to the Grok purchase, right? Grok wasn't doing as great. Like, they had to cut their revenues for the year, because the reality is, if you're building $5 or $10 billion data centers, you want to go with the biggest player. You want to go with the player that actually is going to be there and provide the full stack. And NVIDIA is doing that right now because of CUDA, their software. Now with the purchase of Grok, they're going to more inference. So you're seeing that. I think NVIDIA will continue to be the nervous system of AI going forward. And it's currently trading at a 0.7 PEG ratio. So actually they're cheaper than their growth rate, which is, for me, it's a great place to be.
Hatem, as someone who's looking at investments professionally and managing money, my question for you in 2026 and beyond, given you have companies like NVIDIA and Meta and plenty of others just buying companies 2, 3, 4, 5 billion, 20 billion, on a daily basis, how small are you willing to go when looking for sort of those under the radar growth opportunities? Do we know most of the players in the space from an investment standpoint by name already?
I don't think so. I think there's going to be a lot of exciting new names coming in, especially on the application layer, right? When you think about agentic, when you think about new use cases for AI, right? The big names, the Googles, the NVIDIA, the Amazons will continue to win, right? And I think that's really the bifurcation is both can win, right? You can own the big names, and those will continue to grow because we need to do all this build out, but also there's going to be a lot of new exciting ideas or businesses created on these layers, on the NVIDIAs, on the Googles, and those will be the exciting opportunities going into 2026 and beyond, really.
And I always think that's the best part about a year resetting is finding some of these new winners. And perhaps we're wrong. We'll all make our best picks. But I do think that a year reset does give good opportunity to reassess some of the AI and tech trade. But we so